Good morning, YouTube. Frog Prepper here. I want to do a little video this morning on preventive maintenance on your tiller and yard machines, lawnmowers, weed eaters, so forth, chainsaws. And also I'm going to talk about my spring garden a little bit. I did not have a cold weather garden this year. I didn't take the time to do it, but I planted some stuff yesterday. My tiller had a flat tire. I was running it last night, and I pulled it in the shop to air up the tire. And as I had it in the shop, I got to looking around, and I found about 3 or 4 loose bolts. I think 2 bolts were even completely missing. So it got me thinking, I really need to take good care of this machine. It's about 600 bucks. They have them, of course, much less, and whatever you have, I'm sure will be sufficient. This was the one that I could afford at the time I bought it, and it works great for its purpose. It's big and it's great for long straight runs. It's not that great for maneuvering in a smaller bed, like when you want to till around your plants. I may look at one of the real small miniature models for that this year. But so I tightened bolts. I got looking around, found several bolts that were loose or about to come out, and like I said, a couple that were already out. Also, so I just want to encourage you, if you haven't done it yet this year, take a look at your lawnmowers, rototillers, weed eaters, chainsaws, even of course your cars and trucks as well. What you don't want to be doing, especially right now, as our economy continues to worsen, you don't want to be spending money on repairs that are not necessary. Look around for grease fittings. There's one on mine. That's what a grease fitting looks like. If you're not familiar with that, it looks like a little ball thing. And you can pick, if you don't have a grease gun, you can pick them up for about 10-15 bucks. And something I'm not going to cut corners on in my budget is my preventive maintenance, because it's extremely important. About every gas operated machine has an some sort of a device that breathes air cleaner, air breather. And it might look something like this. It's going to be close to the carburetor. A lot of times it's on the carburetor. All I done was took that thing out, took those 2 screws out, and took that plastic cover off, and they had 2 different elements in there. And one of them was like a white one with some fins on it, and I just tapped it on the concrete on the floor of my shop, and it's a real fine dust. There it is. And it was very easy. It didn't take me about 2 minutes to do that. And what that can do, if left with no attention, it can allow air into the motor, which is going to cause extra wear and tear on it, and eventually maybe even ruin the motor. And also it could be aggravating if you go to run it and it won't start it because it can't get enough air. Also, I checked the oil, made sure that the oil level was sufficient, and I actually ended up overfilling it and making a mess. Oops. But you're going to have that. Aired up the tires. And I spent about an hour working on it. I dug on the tines in the back. I dug some netting and string and vines and stuff that had wrapped around the tines, probably from last year. And I went ahead and dug that out and cut that out while I was working on it. And that just, helps it to run more efficiently and run better. So I think I'm good to go now for the year. Probably change the oil later on in the year, but I'm not going to do that today. It didn't really seem like it's too burnt. Here's I have 2 patches of vegetable gardens that I use. This one I haven't planted anything in yet. There's some future compost that I'll grind down into it. That one's in the shade. It's on the back side of my barn, and it only gets about 4, 5, 6 hours of sunlight per day. This one's a full sun garden, which I'm going to put, let me see, there is some tomato, there's a tomato plant. I think 3 different varieties of tomatoes. This year I bought the plants already started from high school. It's selling. I gave 30 cents a piece for these things, so I feel like that was a pretty good investment. Beef Masters. I think I have about 20 tomato plants. 2 of them I put in buckets. I have 4 pepper plants so far. Let me find one for you there. Where's it at? Where's it at? There's another there's a small tomato. There's a pepper. There's bell peppers, hot peppers, cayennes, and so forth. In the full sun later on today, after I finish this video, I'm going to plant at least 1 full row of green beans. I'm going to plant some cucumbers. This year, I'm going to try to let my cucumbers climb. I've been looking into that for a couple of years. I have not had good success with cucumbers in this red soil. I'm going to try something different this year. I'm going to try to let them climb up a fence. What I done is I bought some potting soil. I got this at a bulk price. I bought this whole load. I don't know if you can see. It's quite a bit. It's like this whole trailer load of potting soil. It's $32 per scoop, and I bought 3 scoops. So I went ahead and spent the 96 bucks. And man, I tell you, I mean, I'm just very much unimpressed with the red soil here in South Carolina. And I've tried to use different soil amendments over the years, the last 2 years, and don't really feel like I'm making much headway. So I'm trying something different this year. I dug a pretty big hole for each plant, and I mixed a little bit of the red soil with the potting soil, and maybe about 50-50, and that's what I planted my plants in. And with the rows, like the row crops, like the green beans, I'm gonna mix it in probably about 50-50 for a whole row. And maybe I'll show you that in another video. So let me get back to my work and get the rest of my garden plant. I'm also going to plant some flowers in the garden, like some marigolds or something, that should encourage the pollinating insects like bees and so forth to hang out and pollinate the plants, which should help them do better. There's several videos on YouTube about that. And I'm also going to put up a little fence around here. As soon as the rabbits around here love my green beans. They won't really, I haven't had too much trouble with them messing with the tomatoes or the peppers, but man, they tear up the green beans. And so I have a little chicken wire fence that I'll be installing around, and between a little bit of work and the grace of God, we should have some good vegetables this year, and hopefully the rain doesn't stop. So have a great day. This is Frog Prepper signing off.